everything works, because I don't know. It's been a while, actually. Feels like forever. I don't know how long it's been, but it's been a while. Um, how are you guys doing? Everyone doing all right? Poor Trader says good afternoon, and Sawyer and Leif say hi. Hi guys. Ah, we didn't get the Christmas rally, huh? It's just been shitty PA, which, I mean, I'm glad I missed, but still, would have preferred prices to move up, obviously. Yeah, we'll talk about it. I will. I don't know if I'm gonna do like a full hour stream because I'm really tired. I'm pretty sure I had like either COVID or like just a regular flu. I'm still recovering, but um, so yeah, I might run out of energy in the middle of it, but we'll see what we can do. Maybe we'll be able to do a whole like altcoin thing where we run through some altcoins. Not sure if there's even like any interest. Let me quickly change all of the setting. Sorry about that. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Doug bought the distribution before the next dump. Well, maybe. I've done that a couple times and made money on the way down, so I'm not really too concerned. But yes, okay, let's quickly run through Bitcoin and we can look at like a few altcoins maybe and then do like some questions or whatever. We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, on the monthly, still the same situation that we've had pretty much for the last month. 3 days till the close. I would like it to close like at 17K or further up, as in like as like a little bit of a either green or just barely any red. So far not too bad, honestly, but it doesn't really, like, we're in the middle of nowhere, right? We have resistance high up, we have support lower down. It's not in an interesting spot, and that sucks, right? Because it's more like trading is easier when you have the monthly kind of on your side. In this instance, we just don't know yet, right? I think going to 14K is less likely than going to 20, but it's a tough bet. I think if we break through 20, there's a good chance we go to 30. That's the clearest trade idea I have right now. Like, there's two trade ideas that you can have based on the monthly. One is you just buy 14K because it's the best support on the chart by far. Like, that has to be a buy if we go there. But I think it's not necessarily likely that we go there unless the S&P giga nukes, which it's been known to do in the last few weeks. Obviously, macro has been kind of shit, but still think this is not necessarily super likely, but it's possible, right? That's one. Buying 14K and then just holding. I don't think you want to sell. Like, if it goes to 14K, you don't want to sell that. I'm not the biggest fan, honestly. I would rather it just turn around and don't give 14K fills. But that's one trade idea. And then the other one, based on the monthly, just as a reminder, is if we close back above 20K, that's the first time that we've had like a range reclaim. You can see what happens when you lose a range, right? This clearest example, we had a nice big range, we lost it, we fell all the way down to where we are right now. We had a range here, again, from 19K towards like 23, obviously like a pretty shitty range, but at least we had some consolidation. We fell out of it to the downside, which has led to quite the move to the downside. If you reclaim it, it starts looking really good, right? So we had a range here. You can see this on the left side. Loss of that range was macro bottom, right? So if we come back above 20K, starts looking quite good. It doesn't have to be a macro bottom, but I think it would be quite a longer term bottom at least. So yeah, 20K is kind of like the pivot in this instance. We'll have to see how that goes. A cautious high time frame trader just would wait for 20K to be reclaimed, or wait for 14K. And I think both of those are valid. I just bought because I think the weekly doesn't look too bad. Now, obviously, when I bought it, we didn't have all of these candles here to the right, right? It was quite a while ago. We just had this big new candle. So far, support's been holding, right? The support here on the left. But we've not been moving up, right? It's just been sideways. And generally speaking, when you have a downtrend and then you like something like this, right? The consolidation is a precursor for more downside. And that's been the case on the way down, right? You had to move down, you had some consolidation, you had to move down, you had some consolidation, you had to move down, right? But something that you can notice from this is that every time we've had this, the next move, right? So like we had a move from here down here, that was 50%. Then we had a move here to here, that was 60%. But then the nukes, and I mean the news have been getting worse and worse to the right, right? But the nukes have been getting smaller, right? So there's a 27% move from high to low. These moves, they're all like a little bit more shallow, which you want to see. Now, obviously, we could have another one like this. If you see something like this and it goes sideways there, and it's just a 10-20% move to the downside, 10% preferably, that would start looking really good, right? Because something that you want to be seeing is that bad news don't impact price as much. And then it's basically like this, and then it shoots back up, right? This has happened before. In general, markets, this tend to happen, right? When you have bad news and they just don't impact the market as much anymore. But we're not, like, I cannot say that that's the case just yet because we don't really have any evidence besides that the dumps have been getting a little bit more shallow, but can still dump obviously. And 14K would actually be quite a nice entry, I think. So if it goes to 14K, maybe I'll buy, increase my position. I don't know yet, we'll see. But so far the weekly's been holding, but we've had 4 weeks basically of downside. And this is in part just based on the fact that the S&P's just been straight down, right? So you have 4 weeks of S&P down, Bitcoin's done the same thing, just not as strongly, right? You can see this today as well. Bitcoin's down 0.3%. The S&P is down 0.7, which is at least something, right? Because before, while we're trading in here and while we're trading up here, the S&P moving 1% would lead to 2 or 3 or 4 or 5% downside in Bitcoin, right? So we've had larger drawdowns on the way down. They've slowed down a little bit, but not enough to say we've decorrelated, like not even close, still correlated, which sucks. That has to break at some point, but it's at least something. So there we go. That's kind of the current state of it, right? There's not really that much on the daily. It's just been kind of struggling with the range, right? We commented on this when it was happening. I think the last live stream was on this breakout, and I was like, okay, if we fail the breakout, we're going back down to at least here, if not one lower. We did both, and now it's just going sideways, right? And this has just been, the S&P's not moved, so Bitcoin hasn't moved, which isn't a good sign, right? Because what you want to have is if the S&P is kind of like, if it's holidays or whatever, you want to have Bitcoin move independently of the S&P or the traditional markets in general. So far we haven't seen that, right? So that's not the best sign. Because what you want to be seeing is just independent flows into crypto, and people have been afraid to do so. Volatility feels like 3K 2018 bottom. Yeah, it feels a little bit similar. It could also just be 6K before 3K. I don't think this halves, by the way. I'm just saying like the volatility is either this or this. And I don't think anyone can say like it could be either or. I think we're too far down to be up here. So I don't think we would get this kind of drop again if it goes down, but yeah, it depends a little bit on the S&P. It depends on the traditional markets, and if they keep on dumping, right? So you look at this, monthly still looks good on this front, but if we start losing monthly support on the S&P, we're in bigger trouble, and then that would probably kind of come over into crypto as well. Not a good look. And oh Jesus fucking Christ, now we have scammers in the fucking live chat. Oh, I'm so sick of it. Anyway, if anyone ever tells you to click any link or whatever, even if you think it's me as a scammer, obviously, I don't know why. Like, these things exist because people keep falling for it, and it tires me the fuck out, right? Like, why? Just use your brain for once. I'm never gonna DM anyone, and I'm never gonna like send you a Telegram like link being like, oh, I've absolutely wanted you in my Telegram group. Like, that makes no sense. Just use your brain. I almost sent them BTC. It's incredible. But honestly, like, I mean, I get it. If you didn't play any video games when you grew up, right? Anyone that's played video games when they grew up, if they get scammed, I mean, it's just embarrassing, right? Because you should have gotten scammed during your video game journey, right? Because everyone is a fucking scammer there if they get the chance to. But anyone that's done any of that should not be falling for this, and probably isn't, honestly. It's just probably people that are new to the internet. I don't know. It's frustrating nonetheless. Don will never DM you. It hurts, but it's true. I mean, I don't DM. I don't even send my family messages on fucking WhatsApp when we have like something cool going on. So I mean, why the fuck would I be sending anyone else? Like, this is just, it's too much for me to like say Merry Christmas most of the time. So yeah. Anyway, that's Bitcoin, right? That's Bitcoin in the S&P. S&P has to hold the support. It probably will. It's 2 days to go. It's probably going to spend its time around this level. And then I think we could wick down next month, but ultimately close above. It would be a good look. So that's kind of what I'm hopeful for. If we start losing this, it starts looking pretty bleak on the traditional front. And then we have more shit to come, right? I think crypto specific shit, most of it is behind us. Again, it's like Genesis still coming. But yeah, I think that's somewhat okay. It's just, we are reliant on one, the S&P not going full bust, and two, people are actually finding some money to buy this shit, because I don't think many people are selling anymore. It's just no one's buying, which is a little bit frustrating, because we could go up, but if no one's buying, I mean, obviously it won't go up. So I've been buying, but apparently no one else is. Where's the stop loss in Litecoin? I won't say. I don't have stop losses, but we can talk about Litecoin real quick. So Litecoin setup was basically, I bought this because I was anticipating a monthly breakout. It happened. We traded it around a bunch, right, on the daily time frame. So I bought basically, I think I bought either here or here, I don't remember, but around like 60-ish, and it went up. We sold, we bought, like I've been trading it around a little bit, which made the average much better than just 60. So like, I think I captured like $10-15 of price movement in between all of this. And and then it fell out of this consolidation, right? Every single altcoin just kind of took a massive hit. Litecoin took a bigger hit actually, which is not the greatest, but given it's been the biggest move on the upside, it makes sense. And had a nice recovery, which got stuffed in the last 2 days. So low time frame wise, it's a good looking coin, right? High time frame wise, still to me, I mean, I wasn't negative at 60. I mean, I bought it at 60. Like my mind's not changed, but the high time frame server is still the same, right? So basically, we went from support through resistance, now retesting this resistance, or like retest it. I obviously, like, just given this monthly, I would like it to close as high up as possible because that would just look the strongest. But anything above 60 would be fine, like is fine. If we start losing 60 on the monthly, that's invalidation. I look for an exit, right? It's kind of it for the Litecoin position. I don't really see why people keep tagging me, because I mean it's still like up more than 10%, and my targets are much higher, right? So my targets are up here or up here, and I'm willing to see it go back to roughly where I entered, which it isn't yet. It's still high up. And what I do when I have like these kind of good entries, like look at this for example, right? We had like you came down here, 40 was like a really good entry, but then you came back to 40, and people exited, and it went to 400, and everyone just kind of shat themselves and hated themselves for selling. I don't want to do that. I'd rather give it space, right? So for example, in this case, if it failed to consolidation, I would probably sold into 40, as in like buy 40, it fails the consolidation, I try to sell back into 40. In this case, obviously it's the same. I bought 60. If it fails it and comes back, I probably sell into 60, right? But so far there's no sign of that, right? So I'm just chilling on the Litecoin front, still holding my position. Don't really see too much of a reason to change anything. It's literally 2 candles since I entered, right? Like people really don't understand high time frame trading, right? Like imagine you didn't know that this was a monthly time frame, and then you bought down here, and this was like an hourly. You bought down here, it went immediately the way you wanted to, and your setup is like, okay, it's gonna like break out and go hard, and then it does 1 hourly that kind of retraces a little bit of it, and you're like, okay, fuck it, I'm out. Like that's not how you trade on the hourly, that's not how you trade on the weekly, it's not how you trade on the monthly. It just doesn't work out. Like either you take the position on the monthly and then trade it on the monthly, or you get like a really, really good reason to get out, or you just, I mean, I don't know, I don't really see where all the confusion is coming from. We're pretty low and volatility is really low, right? Price wise, we're pretty low and volatility is pretty low, which just basically means you're gonna have to be a little bit more patient on stuff. And I mean, this has been 2 months in the making. I could see this take another 10 to go to 120, and I'd be down to just stick with it, right? And if I can, like if it takes 10, that'd actually be quite nice, because then I can sell it tax free. Because in Germany you can sell stuff that you've held for 12 months or more tax free, which would be quite neat. So like I don't really care how this goes in the short term. Don, you made a comment about your cancer coming back. Were you being at all serious? No, this is obviously a joke, dude. Like how I said, like the new Twitter look made my cancer come back as a joke. And I don't know how you could even take it serious, because I don't know how Twitter could make my cancer come back. I mean, that makes no sense whatsoever. And if it came back, I would obviously not post about it in that way. Anyway, let me quickly read the chat, see what's up. Did I miss anything? Talk about Tesla? We can in a sec. Okay. Don, why don't you say which exchange you use for spot? Because I use pretty much all of them. I use Binance. I use a few German ones just for shits and giggles. I use Coinbase. Just combine Coinbase and Gemini. I use Kraken. I use all of them. So like me answering that is like a little bit of an odd one because it's not just one. So that's that, right? It's Litecoin on the this is what I've been dealing with, right? So my setup was basically reclaim of this range, and I've been getting 100 mentions a day about Litecoin, and this is what we're talking about, these two candles, right? So I bought, it immediately went completely straight 1,000,000% up, and now we've had a little bit of a red candle. And I'm just like, what the fuck am I supposed to say? This is a setup where you have a range. You have a range false breakdown, and you target the upside of the range, and that range high is 200, almost 300% away. Like, I could not give less of a shit about this red candle. Like, this red candle is 11%. So, I mean, yes, it's whatever. And you can see this on the weekly time frame. I will admit this, and I get where the nervousness is coming from. The weekly time frame, we kind of broke below this range high, and are now using it as resistance. But as long as we don't lose down here, it looks pretty good to me. Still, like, you can even see this if you just, this has basically been the trend, right? And all we've been doing is put in a low, put in a higher low, working on another one. Now, obviously, this doesn't have to hold. If it doesn't, I mean, I'm not gonna sticking around. Like, I think Litecoin is pretty shit to me. I'm just trading it because I like the chart. You're not gonna see me say Litecoin is the best fundamental coin because who the fuck cares anyway. But I like the chart, so that's why I've been trading it, and so far it's been going quite well. So I'll stick with it until it doesn't go well anymore, and then I'll just try something else. But every time, like these swing setups that you get, right, you have to go through some pain. And people always think like, oh yeah, it was so easy in hindsight, right? But it's not easy while you're doing it. And if you're buying this before it nukes and then finds a bottom, well, that's just shit luck, right? And there's a good chance that you will be buying this. And there's a reason why I've been like buying stuff and then selling it and then buying it again and then selling it again. And it's because I don't know whether we're in here or in here, or in here, or whatever, right? So I have to test, and I'll give the test as much chance as I can, because I know that if I buy this, right? If I buy this and then sell this, I will not rebuy here, and I will not rebuy here. I will generally not rebuy this shit, because I mean, it's Litecoin, shouldn't be at 400, 300, whatever. If it gets there, that's a stroke of luck. So basically, if I don't buy the bottom, I'm not gonna buy it at all. So I'm trying to buy the bottom. Someone asked about ETH. Literally not been doing anything. ETH BTC is just full-blown sideways, which just basically means ETH USD is trading the S&P, because Bitcoin is trading the S&P. If ETH BTC is going sideways, so is ETH, and that's been the case, right? So you see, last 4 weeks red-ish. I mean, we had one green week. That's the same as the S&P, just a little bit stronger. You can see that this move is outsized. This one's not that big. Then again, the upside has been limited as well. So there's not really that much interesting going on here, right? You can see that most of the stuff in the market, like 1, 2, 3, 4, last 4 weeks, this is where Litecoin weakness is coming from, right? The S&P going down. XRP, you look back for 4 weeks, you can see where it kind of started being shit, right? So we're trading the traditional markets again, which is, like I said at the beginning of the show, not a good thing. You want to see crypto specific strength. We had that before, right? This is where the entire, like, not in Bitcoin, but in other coins, where this entire strength came from. I want to see it again. Someone asked about XRP. It's an interesting one. So it's basically a play on XRP winning the court case that they have against the SEC, against, like, I mean, it's just Ripple doing Ripple things. To me, it seems like there's a good chance that that happens. It's just a question of how low does it go in the meantime, right? And that's hard to answer because, I mean, you see this, like you had like this triangle. It actually didn't play out, which is not great. When you have bullish patterns that just get faded immediately, that's not great. And we're trading around like 36, which is like, I bought XRP during this nuke and then left for Christmas. I came back and it's exactly where I bought it at, which, I mean, not great. Not the worst, but not great. And it's been one of the stronger ones this week. If you look at the daily XRP BTC chart, it bounced a little, but nothing to write home about, right? So nothing's really been moving during the Christmas time. We had like a few nukes before Christmas. We had a little bit of a reclaim, a little bit of strength creep back in during, but nothing major. And this is on like my favorites, right? So Litecoin went up a little again, XRP went up a little. If you go through the list, right, and this is something we can do, you will see massive pain everywhere, right? Like Link went down, Uni went down, and those are like ones, like these still look okay, right? Those are ones that I actually personally like. I don't necessarily have a position, but I personally like. But if you go to the ones that I'm just monitoring, Solana took a huge hit, not for obvious reasons. Cardano, huge hit. BNB also a little bit, but that is, I mean, BNB is still up a shitload, so cannot really say anything about that one. Dogecoin also down quite a bit in the last few weeks. One of the outperformers that I've been watching is TRX, and that actually looks quite good to me. I've been thinking about buying it. It's just basically the reason why I've been thinking about buying it, and I fucking hate TRX, right? It's just because if you measure it to anything else, you can see that there's relative strength there, which has been a pretty good precursor of upside, right? It looks pretty similar to, let's say Litecoin here. You see this? Do you see this price action here? You compare it to TRX BTC. It's a little bit of a similar one, right? And Litecoin, TRX does generally quite well after consolidations, right? Lengthy consolidations. You generally like get sideways and then you get up, and if it's a false move, you get massive down, but you don't necessarily get sideways down. It's very rare. You can see this September 6, 17. All of the highs have been sharp. Like this is a tiny consolidation that was at a high. And that's really the only ones that you can find on this where it wasn't just precursor to at least going up a little bit, right? So you had a little bit of an up move here. You had a little bit of an up move here, obviously overshadowed by the down move. But that doesn't really matter, right? If you catch this, like if you catch the consolidation and then you take the 130% here, 100% here, or 80% here, you will not be complaining, right? This is a good trade, even if it's just a bear market rally. Even if this goes up 40, 50% and then crashes to the core of the earth, you'll be happy to have gotten 40, 50%, right? So I think just looking at this, more likely to go up than down. I hate TRX, that's why I didn't buy it yet, but it's an interesting one to watch. XMR looks good. I do agree. Yes, still looks good. So yeah, that's that. that's my list. It's an interesting one, right? It's been an interesting time. It slowed down a little. I would like it to speed up again because I mean, while I do say like, hey, this has just been one or two candles, obviously get bored in a position as well. I'm like, well, I would like this to move against or for me, doesn't really matter. I just like it to play out so I can kind of get on with my life, but that's just how it is. And yeah, Sol is hilarious. This is beautiful. It's actually like just the head and shoulders going to zero. Bop, bop, bop. But yeah, not great. Solana, obviously, quite crazy that I bought this down here and sold this up here at 40 and now it's trading at 10 just like a couple weeks afterwards. It's nuts. Complete and utterly nuts to me, but yeah. Does your brother have lost money in FTX? Yes, he does. Like he lost a bunch. I didn't really lose too much. They owe us because they didn't really pay us at the end. But I mean, we're not asking for it because I mean I think it should go. Obviously, I mean it should go to the people that lost a bunch. Kind of feel. I mean, it's just still the biggest bummer, the biggest shit situations ever like that I've ever been involved in. Really sucks. Wish I could do something about it, but it's always obvious in hindsight, right? And then before, you will never know. So yeah, still bummed, but nothing to be done afterwards. Good we didn't follow your girlfriend's advice on Sol. Yeah, but I mean, I don't even think the charts predicted it, to be fair. I was saying like, oh, it looks like it goes to zero, but more as a joke, so. How's your girlfriend doing? She's very pregnant. Like, I mean, not very pregnant, as in you can barely see it that she's pregnant, just because I mean, she's quite thin from the get-go, but it's getting there. It's getting there, and she's been morning sick for the last 3 months, 2 months, but finally getting out of morning sickness, which is really nice. Are you going to play the Blur token launch? I don't even know what that is, and no, I'm not going to. But Sol NFTs are crushing now, going up only. Are they? I mean, cool. I mean, against Solana they might, but that's not really hard when Solana goes down 80%. Can you please explain your take on how to maintain funds and wallets, exchange stuff? I mean, basically keep as little as you can on exchanges, only the stuff that you're actively trading. And what was the other one? I mean, that's just it. And then there's a few ways to secure your balance. Hardware wallets is one of them. You can just basically make an offline computer, which is also one of them, as in like you have like a wallet on the computer that never gets online. There's plenty of good material to read into there. That's how I did it most of the time. Nowadays, I have stuff on hardware wallets, I have stuff on exchanges, but as little as I can. And I wire in and out basically. But yeah, it all depends. The cool thing about leverage exchanges is that you can basically mitigate the amount of money you have to hold on an exchange, right? Let's say you're trading on Binance and you want to trade 100,000. You can just put 50 there and then level up 2x, and then you essentially trade, like you're still trading 100,000, but you're 50,000 less at risk for Binance, right? If Binance goes bust, which I think is quite low risk, but that's kind of the way you should be using leverage. But I mean, people just don't. But yeah, there's a few ways. The thing is, the reason why I rarely talk about it is because I'm not an expert, right? I've never been hacked, never lost money besides never lost money during like any of these incidents besides like accidentally sending coins to the wrong address. I've lost money doing that, but on that front, like I feel like I've just been getting lucky because I mean I have how much was it? I think I had 300,000 or whatever of NFTs in a hot wallet, because I was too lazy to put it on a hardware wallet. I just had it on my MetaMask, whatever. So you shouldn't be asking me. So I feel like I've been getting lucky, but so far so good. Obviously don't have that anymore. There's nothing to get on my hot wallets. I secured it a little bit better in the last few months, but yeah, it depends. But I'm not an expert is what I'm saying. That's why I don't want to give advice because it might be shitty advice. There's a lot of good people that you can follow on. You can just Google of good ways to set yourself up securely. I don't want to talk about it too much. Thoughts on Sam being free on a bail? I mean, it's just fucking is a joke. It's a joke. I mean, the amount of money that just got fucked in this is incredible, and it's frustrating to me how this entire thing is handled. Right? Obviously, the whole process takes a while, but still, it just seems like a slap in the face of everyone that's gotten kind of betrayed, gotten stolen from. And yeah, it's not a great feeling, but I mean, justice will hopefully be served in this case. Cred said he would be a lawyer if he wasn't a trader. What would your job probably be if you didn't become a trader? I mean, so like back in university, I studied geology actually, which is hilarious to think about. I was pretty good at it. So, but I took like more of higher, like the mathematics of it, like engineering parts rather than everything else. So, I was thinking of a lot of things, but I mean, that could have been one of them. Just going into basically that, but just happened to be getting really successful with crypto trading while I was making the decision of what I wanted to do with my life, which just kind of took it away from me. But yeah, I was enjoying that. So yeah, that's that. With regards to coins, any coins you guys want to talk about, any ones that are interesting in a positive or negative light, I'll add them to the list till it's at least full. As in on this one page, and then we can check up on them from time to time. Maybe we'll find something cool. If not, yeah, Mask I think is one of the new ones, which just I don't think there's much to chart really. Yeah, it's actually not that new anymore, but yeah, that's getting fucked. Is there? We'll add it. Mask. We'll add this one, and we'll add. Can we add them? Oh no, we cannot. So new doesn't really have a Bitcoin pair. Beautiful. But yeah, on the Mask front, I mean, you said you went long on support, but I don't really think you did. Because, I mean, support is 1.86. And it's actually quite interesting, right? So you have resistance here. It fell down. It had a massive move. But this is one of the ones that got hyped with Musk, if I remember correctly, and Tesla's giga dumping, right? So, could be shit out of luck. This is like one of the ones which is hard to trade, but I mean, this is the support that you want to be looking at, right? It's approaching this area. And I mean, if you get 1.86, whatever, the low of that box, if the market looks a little bit better, I think that's a good place to kind of get a bounce. So yeah, but doesn't look pretty. Does not look pretty because kind of had like this lower time frame support completely violated with a little bit of a pre-warning, right? You have two tests here. You come back up with a false breakout. If you have something like this, just as like a warning, when you have something like this, have a false breakout, you fall back in here, you want to get the fuck out because you know that this support's been tested twice. You don't want to be buying it the third time. And if you bought any of these, I mean, you don't trust the support anymore, right? So where would this turn around? It's a false breakout. If you're lucky, it'll turn around somewhere here, but most likely it's just going to go to the low and a good chance that this low just not going to hold. So you just kind of bought yourself in a shitty position. That said, the people that are looking at the daily are missing the weekly picture, which is that it's approaching support. So this is the area to look for bounce. But yeah, I'm glad I don't have to trade this. Okay, Atom. Okay, we can add Atom. I'll just do it here. I actually like Atom in general, so Atom, and we'll just do the Bitcoin pair for good measure. So Atom, good old Atom. Well, that's just not a good look, huh? So we have this, which acted as resistance. Was quite tough. How do you properly chart this? I mean, this is the reason why this is hard to chart, right? Is basically because you have a bunch of supports, resistances here in this area. You could say, hey, this is that resistance, or hey, this is that support, depending on how you draw it. And I don't think any of them are pretty, like, particularly clear. So yeah, it's a tough one. I think, let me see if there's better, like anything better on the Bitcoin pair. Not really. So this one is just one where you just, like when you have this situation where it's just so fucking choppy that you don't want to be using the chart necessarily. Because you can see like how this has been just chopping around. When I have this situation, it's just like, this is useless. Like I don't think there's much edge to be had on the chart. There's already little edge in charting, I think, besides like just false breakouts, either direction. And okay, you can spot accumulation or distribution, or like just in general, very, very obvious levels. So in these kind of instances, I think that there's nothing really on the chart that can help you. At least for me, I don't like it too much. Interestingly enough, right? If you just ignore all of these lines, let's just remove all of this. I don't think it's much use. You have a range here, right? This is the big picture. You have a range, and this is an interesting one, right? Because you have a range like ETH has been doing, right? I think you can, there's also an interesting one against ETH. Because ETH's been strong, right? ETH's been outperforming. This has been just going sideways. So if you chart anything against Atom, yeah, right? So Atom USD against whatever, let's say, ADA USD, doesn't really matter. Atom's just been completely killing it. It's just not been outperforming Bitcoin too much. It's just been in the range, and it's not been outperforming USD because Bitcoin's been dumping, right? But by just not outperforming Bitcoin, it's already done more than almost anyone else in the market, right? Because everything else in the market has been just giga dumping. So Atom is an interesting one because it's actually like, look at this. Everything is just very, very down, and Atom is not. So you can see relative strength there even by just ignoring the chart, but just seeing, okay, it's in a massive range. And I think that's interesting. So I want to be keeping an eye on that, but there's not really, like, I can draw levels. This one's an interesting one, for example, because you can draw it all the way from the back here. But as you can see, like, it's just chopping a lot. It's not the best chart, but it's a really good coin, I think, just as like as a side note. It's not been outperformed by ETH, and ETH's been outperforming everything, which makes it an interesting choice. So yeah, I like that. I would keep up on it. No Tesla. I mean, Tesla's just fucking hilarious. We'll end on Tesla. So I've been shit talking Tesla for a long time, been getting a lot of shit for it. Fair enough, right? But I mean, this is just, yeah, it just looks horrendous. It's Head and Shoulders. Talked about this on Weekly Open a couple times before it broke down. Now it's down a lot. I think the chart doesn't matter too much in this one either. I think it's more like Tesla going up or down is basically just showing you, like, Tesla is like a social token on fucking Elon Musk. And you will see whether Elon Musk is liked or not on this chart. And he's been getting less and less liked as we go along. Obviously also helped by the fact that the S&P and everything is down. But just this mega dump is basically people losing faith in Elon, I think, more than anything else. And I don't think that's going to reverse, honestly. I think he just made himself look a little bit incompetent with the Twitter thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I really don't give a shit about American politics. I mean, people always, like, when I say Elon bad, whatever, people go completely crazy and like, oh, you're left wing, you're right. I don't give a shit, right? I mean, I don't like Elon Musk, but it's not about politics for me. It's about, like, him just basically thinking he's a god. And I don't like people like that in general. Like, if you think you're better than everyone else, I will not like you, just how it goes. And the way he's been acting, he's kind of has been making a fool of himself, at least in the eyes of most of people. And I think this is basically just a reflection of that. Now, I think you're obviously going to get a bunch of people shorting this shit. The lower it goes, more people will hop on and then you'll get a short squeeze. But I think just think about how egocentric and narcissistic Elon is, right? And I think you kind of have to be to get to this kind of level. He's probably going to do something stupid, right? I think that's just, like, it makes sense to think about it that way. So, like, I'm not touching Tesla. Like, you couldn't get me to buy it at 100. You couldn't get me to buy it at 80 or 60. Like, I'm not going to buy this. If I want to buy, like, something tech oriented, right? I'd probably buy Meta. We talked about this before. When it was trading quite a bit below 100, it's bounced. That was actually, like, close to the low. I think Meta is going to be an interesting one. I'd rather buy that. And I really dislike Zuckerberg too, right? So it's not about me liking someone or not. I don't like Zuckerberg. I don't like Elon. I generally don't understand why people cheer on these, like, mega billionaires. It's just kind of odd to me. Most of them got to where they are by doing shady shit, right? So don't think any of them are really beyond any of us. But if there's, like, a I'm already saying, if there's a tech stock that I want to be buying, I think it'd be Meta, as in Facebook, even though, I mean, I just think they're pivoting in the right direction. And I think Tesla is going to do something stupid, as in Elon Musk is going to do something stupid. He takes himself too seriously. But could be wrong on that front. So far, I've been right on it. I think, anyway. People will disagree, obviously, because people kind of conflate the idea of disliking someone in politics. But, yeah, don't think necessarily going the way Elon Musk would like it to. Elon is acting exactly how Gainsey does, yes, a little bit. But I love Gainsey and I dislike Elon. But maybe it's just me. But yeah, like take it with a grain of salt. I mean, I don't like Elon, and this is coming from someone that actually used to like him. I mean, I like innovation, but if you just go too far and kind of do stupid shit left and right, at some point, I think you can question and reevaluate your stance on someone or something, and that's what I did. But yeah, I think the best way to look at Tesla is basically a stock on Elon Musk. If you think Elon Musk is going to regain favor, it's probably a good buy. If you don't think so, goodbye, because it's still it's still worth a lot more than competitors. Obviously, it's not necessarily one-to-one how it works, but the market cap's quite hilarious on that front. Basically like 4 biggest car companies in the world combined almost, market cap wise, even though it's down 75%. So yeah, but like I said, there's more to it, and I'm not a stock investor, but I think the market's turned so crazy that it trades like shitcoins now, which is quite funny. What's your opinion on coin? I really don't like Coinbase. I mean, I use it, but I don't like it. But I think at some point it's a buy. It's just like, if you want to buy Coinbase, there's also like just an argument for just buying Bitcoin, right? Because if Bitcoin goes up, Coinbase is going to go up. And then if you buy Coinbase, you just have to hope that you're outperforming Bitcoin, right? If Bitcoin keeps going down, Coinbase is going to keep going down. It's just how it is. So like you have to make the argument that Coinbase is the better buy, and then we can do this. And then you wonder, like, do I really want to buy coin? Like, do I really want to, or do I not? Because, I mean, just looking at this chart, do I want to buy it? Isn't there more upside on coin? I disagree. I mean, there might be a little bit, but I don't think it's significant enough. Yeah, I mean, if you just bought, instead of buying coin at listing, you bought Bitcoin, you'd be up 200% compared to what you would be. Obviously, it would still be sad because Bitcoin's down quite a bit, but yeah, I think there's a Coinbase play, and I think it's quite low, right? It's just a question of which would you rather pick. But if you want to have a stock instead of Bitcoin, seems decent enough. There's no technical reason why you'd think it goes up, right? Because this just basically broke down a range. And if it comes back above it, then fair game. But if it doesn't, well, shit, right? So this is just how it is. Like, it basically broke support. So you can buy it, but it's a tough one. Anyway, hope that helps. My girlfriend's been cooking. I can hear in the back being loud in the kitchen, which is very sweet. So I'll run for food. But yeah, appreciate you guys coming by. Hope you had a really nice Christmas. And if you don't believe in Christmas, a really nice December time. It's good to be back. I'll try to be a little bit more so in the next few days because it's been a little bit spotty. But yeah, we'll see each other or hear from each other more in next days to weeks. And yeah, it's been fun. Have a nice evening, day, whatever. And I wish you the best. Bye bye.